Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 3 on our mini-series of how to build a starter house that doesn't suck. And today we're going to be looking at texturing. Now if you haven't yet watched the previous 2 videos on designing and building your starter house, you might be a little bit lost. So do go back and watch those and we'll get into today's video. Now what exactly is texturing? Well, in this instance it is actually a lot easier to show you rather than simply tell you. And we're going to be starting off with a single simple block, and yes, it is stone. And by this time you must be thinking, this guy really loves his stone, and while that is true, that is besides the point. The reason I'm using stone in so many of these examples is because in a survival world, it's an easy early game block to get hold of and it offers a lot of variety. So with stone in hand, we have built a wall. And as you can see, there is really nothing interesting about it. It's a grey blob sitting in front of us and there's no features to it whatsoever. And this is something that you might very well build in your first days in Minecraft, but we can make it so much better. Here we go, we've taken that same wall, we've added a few steps to the top and the bottom for some depth, and then we've added some spruce pillars just to give it a little bit more variation. But as you can see, it still doesn't look quite right. Even the stairs at the bottom get a little bit lost behind all the grey. You have to really walk up close to see that there is actually some depth there. So what do we do about this? We texture it. And suddenly you can see this looks a lot more believable. I've stripped away some of the bark on the spruce pillars. I've added some mossy cobblestone over here where you can see it might be crumbling. We've got some mossy stone bricks. We've got a little bit of tuff and some andesite and even some cracked bricks in there. And all together, this actually looks like a wall that you might find in the real world. And that is what texturing is all about. It's about taking a conceptual model like the one on the right and turning it into something that is believable, something that can tell a story just by glancing at it. And as you can see from these 2 models, the one on the left does just that. And by looking at these 3 models, you can see just how much of an impact a little bit of texturing can have on your build. Now to further the idea of being able to tell a story at a glance, I've built a little bit of a road here, and as you can see it's made out of stone and it's rather boring. I've even added a little bit of detailing with some bushes, some fencing, a few pebbles, a boulder on the side of the road, as well as a lamppost to light the way, but still it is looking quite ordinary. Now even though this isn't looking too bad, it still does not look quite believable. It's just too perfect in the middle, and that is once again where we'll apply a bit of texturing. Now if we look at this piece of road, it is identical in every way to the one next to it except for the road itself, which has been textured. And as you can see, there is a story to be told here. The middle of the road has been worn smooth by many years of travel and thousands of feet passing over it. There are some potholes over here which makes it dangerous for carts to travel over, and as a result perhaps traders don't use it as much. And overall you can see just the immense difference that has been made by a little bit of texture added to it. And that is what we're going to do to our house. We're going to take this boring stone block and its variations and transform it into something special. And here we go. As you can see, we've got our basic house model over there ready to go, looking all boring and bland. But fear not, because over here we have the selection of blocks that we're going to use to make it absolutely spectacular. And we're going to start off with some mossy cobblestone, some stone bricks, some mossy stone bricks, some andesite, and I think that's enough to get us going. Now I would urge you to find some moss as soon as possible because it's an easy way to get some excellent blocks for texturing. And we're going to start off by placing some of that mossy cobblestone around the bottom of our walls because it's the darkest block and we sort of want to work our way up from dark to light. Also, the mossy cobblestone has the roughest texture of the bunch, and so it looks like this is where it's taking the most punishment in terms of weather and the like. So we're just going to go around the entire house, add some mossy cobblestone, and we're going to try not to form any patterns, as we want this to look as natural as possible. And we're not going to overdo it either. As you can see, that's enough of the mossy cobblestone. So now we're switching over to the mossy stone bricks, which gives a little bit of a lighter texture, and it looks just a little bit less weathered than the cobblestone. So we're going to use that to try and blend the cobblestone in with the rest of the normal stone walls. So we're just going to place a bunch of these as we did with the cobblestone, and once again we're going to try to not overdo it. So just one or two more over here, and I think that looks pretty good. Now we're not going to add any of the mossy stones to the top story, because in my mind at least, that's not where moss will grow. And in my mind, moss grows near the bottom of the house. So we're going to switch over to the normal bricks, and we're just going to fill in a bunch of normal stone bricks to complement the normal stone. And once again, we're not looking to overdo it. However, we are trying to form sort of patches of brick, which will be contrasted by patches of normal stone. So here we go once again, all around the house. We're just going to add in some stone bricks everywhere we think it could use a bit. And as you can see, we're trying to keep the little patches going all over the walls. Not too many, not too little. And it's a good idea to practice this technique in creative mode. Because your blocks are unlimited, you don't have to worry about turning your stone blocks into cobblestone. And once again, we're going to do the same to the top story. As you can see, no mossy bricks over here. And I think that's enough. Now we just keep the patches going. As you can see, some patches of stone, some patches of bricks, and we're almost done with the entire house. So just a few more on this wall, and that pretty much does it for the stone portion of our texturing. Now next up, we're going to grab some gravel, we're going to grab some andesite, and then we're going to work those in just to provide a little bit of different color to the walls. And we're pretty much going to be adding these where we still have some normal stone left. And once again, we're going to try and not overdo it, because this is a cozy stone cottage and not a circus tent. So we're going to start off, put a little bit of andesite just here and there, and then we're going to add a little bit of gravel up there. At the front, I think we're going to put some gravel in there, a little bit of andesite over there and there. Now remember, when you're working with a block like gravel, sand or cement powder, you cannot place it where it has no support underneath, because it will just fall to the ground. So you need to plan out where you're going to use it. For example, if I was to place it there, it would just fall down. Now let's place some andesite there instead, and then we can put the gravel off to the side. And we're going to go around the house for the last time, adding these blocks in just here and there, creating a little bit of color differentiation without changing the actual texture of the blocks too much this time around. And as you can see, we are done texturing the walls of our house, and it's time to turn our attention to the roof, because that is just looking plain boring in comparison with our beautiful walls. And we're not going to be doing too much to the roof, because that's a quick way to make the place look run down. Now I always suggest getting two different types of wood before you start building, and the two you're most likely to run into apart from oak is birch and spruce. Now if you do spawn in a plains biome, spruce might be a little bit hard to come by. As you can see, there's no spruce around anywhere, and birch would probably be the easier of the two to get. So we're going to get rid of the spruce, and we're going to be using some birch. Now a lot of people hate on birch for no real reason except for the cow skin that it wears, but once you strip that off, it's actually quite beautiful. And we're going to start off right here on the edge of our roof, and all we're going to do is replace the current oak stairs and slabs we've got up there with its birch counterpart. So here we go. We start off by replacing all of the oak stairs with the birch stairs, and then we switch to slabs up here. In go the birch slabs, and we'll do this top little bit here as well. Then on the other side, we're going to do exactly the same, replacing the oak with birch, and finally we're doing this little edge over here. And that is most of it done. Now we need to remember to do the underside as well. So let's just get all of these stairs in here, and just one or two slabs. One there, one in the middle, and one right over there. And that is all we're going to be doing to the roof. And already you can see it has made a massive difference. It immediately looks more interesting and brings just a little bit more life to the build. And now that we've done the bottom story roof, we're going to do exactly the same to the top story roof. So here we go. And the top story has been done as well. And just look at how much better that stands out. And the last thing we're going to do to our house is finally install the windows. Now technically this is not a part of texturing, but it does add to the depth and the overall texture of your walls. So let's switch over to our window pane and let's get them in their correct places. So here we go, installing our window panes, and you'll see I've got the connected textures mod installed. I think it's a great mod, so we can just get a big window instead of a bunch of little connected windows. But other than that, all of these blocks are 100% vanilla, so you can get the same effect just by using these few stone options and variations in your own world. So let's just get the top story windows in here, one more to go. And there we have it. The entire house has been textured and it's ready for some detailing. But that we will have to do in the next episode. As you can see, our house is looking rather spectacular, and in the next episode we'll be adding some details, all the little things that transforms it from a house into a home. But that is all for today, ladies and gents. I really do hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a like if you found it useful, and be sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss the next episode on detailing. But this is Fungusaurus Rex saying, until next time, beautiful people, stay awesome. Bye bye.